And now, our feature presentation.
Coming up is an hour of incredible stories just like these. Down in Mexico, they perform an ancient tribal ritual. Men known as voladores climb a 60-foot pole and then make their death-defying descents. I'm Fran Tarkin. Arthur Luke was a 63-year-old school bus driver, but a lottery ticket gave him a wonderful retirement. $2 million in cash.
I'm Kathy Lee Crosby. River is almost a mile wide. Tonight you'll see a man attempt to jump it in, of all things, a Lincoln Continental.
And that's not all you'll see.
Tonight on...
That's incredible. Tonight's first story is about a young boy with a health problem, one that prevented him from leading a normal life.
That's Incredible had a small hand in trying to aid this boy through the use of space-age technology.
We helped bring him and his family together with a team of scientists.
For most kids, playing outside on a warm summer's day is something that's taken for granted. 2-year-old John K. Edwards has never known that pleasure. John K., as he's called, suffers from a rare and limiting hereditary disorder.
I don't think that John K. realizes the problem he really has until there are other children outside playing. When he can see those children out there playing, he wants to go out. And then he feels like he's being shorted or cheated out of something. John K.'s condition is anhydrotic ectodermal dysplasia. One of the biggest problems with John K. and his disorder is the fact that he doesn't have sweat glands. Sweat glands serves as an air conditioning system for your body. When you get overheated, you sweat, and the sweat cools the body down. When John K. gets hot, his body temperature starts to rise and will continue to rise if you don't cool him down.
Because of that, John K. is confined to the house where the temperature can be controlled.
We have tried cooling him down with air conditioning. We keep our air conditioner at about 68 degrees. And cool water, putting him in a cool bath, cold drinks, things of this nature. If you don't do this, then it could cause him to pass out. It could cause a heat stroke. It could take his life. It could cause brain damage. He does a lot of playing at night when there's nobody else outside. There's not much life for a child at night. Their time is during the day. Doctors have told us there's no cure for John K. The first doctor that we talked to told us not to go from doctor to doctor trying to find a cure because we would be wasting our money. But we did it anyway. We just hoped that maybe in the 1980s there was something out there that these doctors didn't know about.
There was something out there that had not occurred to medical doctors. It involved the space-age technology that had been developed to insulate astronauts from an otherwise forbidding environment. Almost by accident, the Edwards learned of a man who might be able to help John K.
We saw Larry Kuznets on TV showing his space equipment and the garments which he uses. And we knew this was for John K.
Early in my career at NASA, we discovered that there are severe cooling problems with astronauts in space. These problems are generated from the fact that an astronaut in a spacesuit is like a person sealed in a closed closet or in a thermos bottle. There's not enough air that can be circulated through the garments to cool the individual. Consequently, we discovered a device that looked like it might have potential to help us, and that was a liquid-cooled garment. Now, the liquid-cooled garment acts by substituting a cooling substance against the body for the normal means of evaporation. The sweating is reduced by about 80%. A person can work for harder periods of time in a stressful environment. When I initially was contacted by John K's parents, my response was this would be just a wonderful opportunity to try to help a child with a malady that was helpable using a technology that we had learned.
This is Flexotherm, a material we've developed for advanced liquid-cooled garments for future spacesuits. We've developed a miniature version of this for John K. and for his cooling system.
Recently, the Edwards family traveled from their home in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, to Bill Elkin's Life Sciences Laboratory in Mountain View, California.
It was time now to test the specially designed clothing, which offered the hope of helping John K. to live a more normal life.
We've assembled a team of scientists here, both from within and outside the space program, that are all working in a voluntary program to try to help John K.'s situation. And the culmination of all their efforts has been these garments here in front of you, which are really only prototypes. What we're going to be doing is taking baseline measurements and evaluating certain temperatures to see whether or not these garments might help John K. All right, John K., we've got some new clothes for you. We've got some brand new clothes.
Oh,
and before we get the clothes on, the first thing we want to do is figure out a calibration temperature for you, right up here. Hey, look up here. And Norm, you tell me when you got it.
Norm Eisenberg, a skilled thermographic technician, will use a heat-sensitive camera to monitor and measure John K.'s changing body temperature.
Okay, you got it? Look this way. Here, look at this.
Dr. Kuznets uses a special thermometer called a temperature probe to get exact pinpoint readings.
94 and a half. Right back of leg, 93 and a half degrees. Left front of chest, 94 degrees. Now what we're going to do is try on your new clothes again. Remember these clothes? They're a lot colder now. Come on, we have another lollipop for you. You do it. All right. Here you go. Here.
ooh.
Now,
Okay,
with the new cooling shirt on, John K.'s body temperature will be checked again.
Let's keep your truck.
Here, wait a second.
Let's see if we can.
I'm getting all hot, and you're cold. What am I going to do?
He wants in the hat.
All right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a baseline on him, Norm, okay? Just take a reading with nothing on his head.
You got a good temperature at about 96 on his forehead.
Okay, now I'm going to put this hat on him, and we're going to hold it just for a few seconds, and I want you to scan the surface.
You can see, Larry, as the cap goes on, you can see that the colors change, therefore the temperatures are lowering. And as he turns his head around and takes the cap off there, you can see that the light blue is about 14 degrees difference between the yellow that was before the cap went on and now.
Both shirt and hat seem to be quite effective in lowering and stabilizing John K.'s temperature.
Linda, what we have developed at Life Support Systems for John K. is a liquid-cooled vest and headliner that's based on our commercial units, but it's scaled down just for John K. Now the liquid flows from the control display unit through this line up to the headliner, through the headliner, back down again into the vest, and returns to the unit. And that's a very effective way of conductive cooling. All right, we're going to put the vest on now, John. Here, wrap this around you.
Raise your arm up.
Raise your arm. You got to have your driving arm free, don't you? Let me just shoulder strap. Wait a minute, you got to put your headliner on first.
Let's put this on first, and then we'll
And
put
then, feel how cool that is.
Let's see, with your mama.
And now we can put this on. There, now you really look like a race car driver.
I'd like to see John Kay be able to go outside and play with other children when he wants to, and not have to stand at that door, knocking on that door to go out and play when it's too hot. I think he needs room to grow. He needs space. He's a little boy. Locking him inside of the house for the rest of his life is sure to bring more problems than he can bear.
Thanks to the work of a dedicated group of scientists, John Kay can now safely leave his house and begin to experience life as other children do. But this is just the beginning. The suit works, but it doesn't work perfectly. It is, after all, a prototype in a new field of technology. John Kay's problem is still being worked upon. We'll keep you posted on any and all developments.
This is Lori John Oganowski. She's 15 years old, and she's here to give us an example of her specialty. She's got it, Scott! We'll see more of Lori John's astounding prowess in a moment, along with these stories.
A daring stunt driver will attempt to leap a mile across a river in a slightly used Lincoln Continental.
A minute ago, we saw Lori John Oganowski demonstrate her pool playing expertise. Obviously, Lori's not what you'd expect a pool player to look like.
At 4 years old, my eyes would barely reach a table, and I used to spear the balls in with one hand. And I used to make all the balls, and everybody said, wow, she's a natural. In the beginning, it was only for fun, but then my father started teaching me the basics of pool, and I became more and more interested in it.
I used to line up 15 balls on a table, and she would shoot them into the opposite side of the table with one hand, just spearing them in one at a time. And each day she got faster and faster. At 7 years old, she was asked to do an exhibition, and I let her go on an exhibition. We went out, and she did very well. She played a couple of more tournaments.
At 11 years old, Ernie Costa, who's a male professional pool player, asked me if I was entering the world tournament that year, and I told him no. And he was kind of upset because he asked me, he said, you're a natural at pool, you should be able to win the world champion some year, and the best time to do it is now. So I entered the world tournament, and I think I came in 5th that year, which was very good for me for the first world tournament.
The entire family used to just enjoy watching her and thought it was cute at the time, but little did we know it would grow into something where she would now be into a world tournament and going for the world championship.
A couple months ago, I won the Eastern United States 9-ball championship, and I was the runner-up in the Connecticut and the New York State championship.
And then she went for the world championship in New York City, and she got to the finals. Her opponent in the same colored dress, coincidentally, would be Vicki Frecken.
Let's hold a nice hand from Grand Rapids, Michigan, Miss Vicki Frecken. And our opponent, a young lady from New Jersey, the one and only Lori John Oganowski.
The game would be straight pool, one rack after another. The first to put 75 balls in the pockets, winning the world championship.
The rack is broken by Lori John. Next shot's Vicky's. She makes it. Vicky's ahead, 1-0. But she misses the second shot.
So Lori John takes the table. The corner pocket. Another corner. Another corner. But she misses the fourth.
Lori John's father knows she's nervous. On the second rack, they're still pretty even. Vicky gets one. And another one. But she misses the third.
So time again for Lori John. Side pocket. Corner pocket. All the way to the 14th ball.
The trick now is to pocket the 15th ball and at the same time break the rack. Either that, or it's Vicky's turn.
Lori John misses it. Again, Vicky is chalking up. She makes the corner pocket. But she dogs the second one, and it's Lori John's turn again.
Her mother smells success.
7.
Just call her Machine Gun Lori John. Once again, she's got to pocket the 15th ball, break the rack. She does it. Now she's leading 73 to 55.
74. It's game point now. And 75. She's done it.
Larry, look out, Larry, look out.
Oh, I'm so proudy. Okay.
And now here to show us even more of her skills is the incredible Lori John Oganowski.
What I'm going to do is, if any of you play pool or are starting out to play pool, this is an exercise to help you with your concentration and the steadiness of your nerves. You have to have, you have to have a lot of concentration in the game and very, very, very steady nerves. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the cue ball in the air into a pyramid on these 3 cue sticks.
Okay.
I'm going to raise it up, and the hardest part is taking it down.
So let's go up and down.
Up and down.
All right.
Tough shot.
Now, this would help John's pool game if he could do this also, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now comes the hard part.
You really going to try to bring it down?
Yeah,
That's harder than putting it up?
that's harder than putting it up.
Wow. Okay.
It's really cool.
John could really do this if he wanted him to, but he didn't want to show off. Lori John, have you got a trick shot that Kathy Lee can help out with?
Oh, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you? Oh, good. What do I get to shoot?
You don't get to shoot. You get to sort of lay across the pool table.
Oh,
Hold the ball.
that's
Keep some
good.
chalk in your mouth for me.
Oh,
What do
that's
you mean,
good.
like a beginner? You go like this?
No, I mean, lay on your back across.
your
I'm
back.
shooting a
Come
ball
on.
out of your mouth.
Kathy Lee, I'll help you, honey. Come on.
Wait, what?
I'll tell you what. Wait, lie right down. Put your head right here. You're so brave.
Yeah.
Silly, what do you mean get a ball out of my mouth?
Lay across. Just trust me, really.
I would be glad to do it, Kathy Lee.
Just
but,
lie
down.
you do it.
Lie down. It's already Tuesday night. Lie down.
Out of my mouth.
Just.
How do you mess?
It's really.
I'm gonna help you.
Just
wait.
I'm gonna
lay
help
across
her.
pool table.
All right.
Put your head against the rail.
All right.
Down.
There we are.
Keep going down.
Put your head back like that. That's right.
Now, is it up against the rail?
Comfortable, Kathy Lee?
Okay. Now, is it right up against the rail?
Yes.
Okay, now.
I slept on a pool table once.
Wait a minute.
Very nice.
This is terrible. Stay there.
Stay there.
Down.
Right down.
Put the piece of chalk in your mouth.
What?
Put a piece of chalk in your mouth. Put it upward. You have to hold it up. Hold the ball.
Don't swallow the chalk. Let me help you with that, Kathy Lee. Never eat chalk. Your mommy told you never eat the chalk, Kathy Lee. In the teeth.
Hold it real tight.
Real tight in the teeth. You got it. You got it. How does it taste, Kathy Lee?
Good shot. Don't worry. The last person I, did this to was in the hospital and was having problems talking.
Quiet, Kathy. Are those your real teeth or you have caps? Real teeth? You're going to have caps. Here, one more thing. Could you hold these across? Yeah, that's it. I think that's nice. That's good, okay. All right, there we are.
Okay, 10 ball in the corner pocket.
10 ball in the corner pocket.
Our next story is about a flight from Canada to the United States. Now you may ask, what's so incredible about that?
Well, what if we told you that this flight was attempted in a yellow Lincoln Continental?
Ken Carter is slated to pilot the car. He's a 41-year-old professional stunt driver and car jumper who's been performing dangerous stunts for most of his life.
I started messing with motorcycles and jumping cars, and then I just went after the world record. And the world record at that time was set by Lucky Teeter in 1942 when he died trying to jump a Greyhound bus. And that's where it stemmed from, just jumping cars. And then somebody one day said, hey, why don't you jump 2 buses, 3 buses? And then just a river came, and then a mile jump, and now here we are.
We're in Morrisburg, Ontario, Canada, where preparations are being made for the most incredible car jump ever.
About 4 years we've been working on it. Building it, moving 110,000 yards of dirt. I know in 1976, there were some non-believers, but there sure are some believers now. In this final moment, countdown as we get ready for a mile with a rocket car from Canada to the United States. Probably never been done before, and I don't think it'll ever get done again. At 280 miles an hour, a rocket-powered Lincoln Continental will leave Canada, climb to an altitude of 305 feet over the top of the St. Lawrence River, heading for somewhere in the United States.
That somewhere is Ogden Island, New York, a mile away.
Butch Butts is a race car driver who's helped build the rocket car.
It has 2 wheels in the car, one for steering, one for flying. The car has ailerons so you can control it in the air. It's separate of the steering. All right, the gauges are for loading the car, pressuring up, and making the run. He has to accurately measure out everything more or less. It's like baking a cake, You get it set, and once it's ready, you just mash the pedal and go.
Ken Carter will be the first man to fly the car, and the time for that is not far away.
A helicopter is ready in case there's a need for quick rescue and evacuation. There'll also be 4 rescue boats with divers. Everything's ready and set to go. And now this rocket-powered 1976 Lincoln Continental is pushed into its final starting position.
The wings are designed to help guide and stabilize the car's flight. But first, it must accelerate to 280 miles an hour and then shoot off a 90-foot ramp.
Ken must now perform a final checkout on this 1.5-ton jet car, which is powered by 2 rocket engines and 50 gallons of hydrogen peroxide fuel.
The helicopter, boats, and everything else is now just waiting for blastoff.
Then, suddenly, something goes wrong. Ken is adjusted a fuel valve incorrectly, and the explosive hydrogen liquid is seeping into the car.
If it should accidentally ignite, everything within 300 yards will be disintegrated. A mechanic risks the danger.
Now signal that the jump has been delayed. Fire crews move in slowly to wash away the explosive fuel that has seeped onto the ground.
It looks now like potential disaster has been averted, but the pressure and tension of the last several minutes has left everyone emotionally drained.
I knew you had a heart attack. Okay. I knew you had a heart attack. Okay, you can take it. Where were you?
It's just too dark. I only need 10 minutes to fix it. It's just losing light too fast from the see where he's going. It's going to be a tomorrow morning thing. I have no choice. I'm not going to send him out right now.
The attempt was postponed for 24 hours, but you can see it right after this.
It's a day later in our story. Let's go back and see the attempt to jump the St. Lawrence River in a Lincoln Continental.
The rocket-powered car is ready to go. The driver, however, will not be Ken Carter. It will be Ken Powers, age 32.
After his ordeal the day before, Carter has been judged unfit to drive.
Powers is eager and experienced, and he calls a pre-jump news conference at the tip of the takeoff ramp.
Okay, Ken, how do you feel about the jump itself now? How does it feel right now?
I feel good about it. I'm ready for it. I'm as ready as anybody in the whole world could ever be.
Yeah.
And I want to do it. I want to do it right now. Car will come up and be parked on the line. And George Calloway and other guys will line it up as perfectly straight as possible. It's a fabulous piece of machinery. It can give you fame and fortune. It can kill you too. It has to be respected. The thing about it is that give a couple of words to God, hope for the respect, and give it your best, and that's all you can ask for.
Somebody up on top of the ramp.
All right, somebody get them down. We're getting ready to perch here and go. I want to go.
Though the mechanics want to double-check a few details, Powers has called them off and insisted that the jump proceed.
Go. Ready? Now's the time.
I'm going to have time to buy me a drink before I go back to camp.
I've never driven a rocket car before. I've never come off the line in a rocket car. Someone says why. The first time I jumped cars, I'd never jumped either. When I try to break somebody in to train them how to be a stuntman, I put them in the car when I think they're ready. So if I can do that to someone else, who else can I say that's any more ready than me? I'm ready for it. Good, bad, or indifferent, I'm ready right now.
The huge takeoff ramp has been cleared. The jump is now moments away.
5, 4, 3, roll all cameras, 2, 1.
There it goes. The chutes open much too soon. The car heads for the river. The car's demolished, but Ken seems to be all right.
Floating. The car is floating. The body is mostly gone, but the car is sitting there floating. The 35-foot parachute is still inflated. One of them is. The car is being drug over to the...
Ken Powers is badly shaken, but remarkably, he's okay.
Here's the jump again. Watch for the parachutes. All three open, but only one fills with air.
The chutes may have opened prematurely due to a malfunction, or they may have been activated accidentally by Ken or by an observer with a remote control switch. We don't know.
Whatever the cause, an extraordinary stunt has ended in failure, but thankfully not in tragedy.
This next story is about sudden wealth. We thought we'd ask our studio audience, what would you do with $2 million?
Well, I'd go out in the Bahamas, buy me an isolated island, a few luxury items, and 10 beautiful women.
And what would you do with them?
I'll satisfy them.
What would you do if you had $2 million?
Well, first probably I'd go absolutely crazy. And then I'd go to my shrink who'd take a good chunk of it. And then I think I would just go around the world.
Could you tell me what you would do with $2 million?
If I had $2 million, I'd call up my boss in the middle of the night and sing him my favorite song. Take this job and shove it.
Now let's find out what Arthur Luke did. Arthur was a school bus driver. Today, he could afford to buy the bus. In fact, he could probably buy the school.
I've been driving a school bus in the city of New York for Varsity Transit for approximately 24 years. My duties were leave the house at 6:30 in the morning, go to the garage, check out my bus, start picking up children about 7:45, bring them into school. In the afternoon, I pick them up and do it reverse and bring them back. Do field trips in between, take them to museum, park, Coney Island. And these are all handicapped children that we transport. And I really like my job.
Arthur Luke also likes to play Lotto, New York's weekly pari-mutuel lottery game.
Last March at his neighborhood grocery store in the Bronx, he bought his regular Lotto ticket and filled it out.
Got the pen? I've been buying the New York State Lottery for approximately 2 years since it started, on and off. Since last July, I've been playing it constant every week.
Arthur purchased what's called a 10-week Lotto-matic ticket. He picked 6 numbers that would be entered in the Lotto computers for the next 10 weeks. If his 6 numbers were chosen during any one of those weeks, he would win.
Arthur figured that his $10 ticket was worth a chance at sudden wealth. At 63, he earned $17,000 a year, and he was due to retire in just a few weeks.
For the last 16 years, his wife had been working at night, cleaning offices to supplement their income.
Then came April 11, 1981.
Welcome to Lotto, Keno Pick 4. I'm Bob Brown for the New York State Lottery, and tonight the countdown has begun. Oh, I don't mean for the Spaceship Columbia, you've already heard about that. I mean the countdown to see whether or not you will become the second greatest prize winner in Lotto's history. Clyde Murphy won $2.25 million playing New York Lotto. Tonight, if you are the only first prize winner with the annuity interest, you will win. Look, $1,925,769. Ready to post the winning numbers is always Lotto's lovely lady, Bonnabelle. Balls are in place 1 through 40. Let's play Lotto! To win the first prize, you need the 6 winning numbers in any order. Any order. Here we go, number 10.
10 was Arthur Luke's first number, one of several numbers he regularly bet on. Arthur had also marked number 13, as well as 32, 31, 20, and 14. Those were his picks at the grocery store that week.
13, they are the 6 winning numbers. Have those 6, and your dreams come true. Supplementary number tonight is number 24. Number 24. For this Saturday, April 11th, here are the winning numbers, Bonnabelle. Pretty lady, 10, 13, 32, 31, 20, 14. The supplementary is 24.
They have drawing every Saturday night where they draw the numbers. I never watch because I feel if I should ever win, I wouldn't want to see it. I may have a heart attack. So I usually look at the numbers every Sunday morning. Well, this one particular Sunday on April the 12th, I'm checking the numbers, And I knew 4 particular numbers that I played steady. And I look at the paper and I see these 4 numbers, and I couldn't believe it. When I woke my wife up, I said, "Hon," I said, "come on, check the numbers." I says, "I think I hit the lotto." So she got up, and she looked. She said, "John, you're right." He said, "You do have the numbers."
I said, "I love you just the same." He says, "Yeah, I know." He says, "You're after my money." I said, "Yeah, after 29 years. I said, I knew that you were going to become a millionaire today." And that's how it started.
Arthur Luke's winning entry was the only one of 774,093 tickets that matched the winning lotto numbers. His odds of being the only winner were nearly 2 million to 1. Once the computer confirmed his entry, he was given the good news by Bill Cahill of Lotto Central.
The computer printed out for us the validation number of Mr. Luke's winning ticket. It was a simple matter to go down to the microfilm library and look up that ticket and get the name and the address from the ticket. At that stage, it's an even simpler matter to notify the winner of his good fortune, and in this particular case, I had the good fortune myself to notify Mr. and Mrs. Luke of theirs.
He says, "Well, I would like to make an appointment with you to see you tomorrow." This would be Monday. I says, "Fine." I says, "I go to work." I says, "I usually come home. I have a break between 9 and 1:30. I says, "I'll see you tomorrow morning." I says, "Oh," he said, "well," he says, "I don't know." He says, "Can't you take off?" I said, "Well," I says, "I can take off." I said, "But why should I take off? I'm home." I said, "I'll take a half a day off." He said, "Mr. Lucas, if I was you," he said, "I'd take the whole day off." So that's why I'm happy. I still don't believe it. That's how happy I am. I never cried in my life.
Becoming an overnight millionaire was a source of both joy and shock. Several days after they knew they'd won, the Lukes appeared as the guests of honor on the Lotto show.
Arthur and his lovely wife Marie have been married for 29 years, celebrated their anniversary this past week, as a matter of fact. What a week it has been. $1,925,000 is incredible. They have 3 grown children, including a New York City detective, and 9 grandchildren. And Marie, what are you going to do with the money?
I'm going to buy a house, a car, and I'm going to share my wealth with my children and my grandchildren.
Wonderful.
I was supposed to retire anyway the first of May. My papers were in, but when this happened, I retired 3 weeks earlier.
The day he won the money in the lottery, I heard some of the other drivers in the garage talking, and they all said the same thing pretty much. If it couldn't be me winning that money, thank God it was Artie.
I had called up my boss, and I had told him, I says, I am, as you know already, that we are the winners. I says, I won't be coming into work anymore. So he says, Mrs. Luke, he says, if you were coming into work today, I would have taken you to 38th floor and I would have dropped you on your head. And that's how it happened.
For the last 25 years, Arthur and Marie have lived here on Mon-Fri Avenue in the Bronx.
They had planned to retire here on Arthur's $13,000 a year pension, but since they'll now be getting $183,000 a year for the next 10 years, they've said goodbye to their old friends and neighbors and moved to a $52,000 home in Pennsylvania.
Here's your steak. Whatever you do, don't burn it, okay?
The Lukes don't miss the Bronx at all and have easily adapted to the pleasures of suburban living.
One thing I like the best in the house is the pool in the backyard. That's number one. What I usually do is with the vacuum, it hooks up over there. This is one of my morning chores, which I do every morning. First things in the morning, I come out here, I check the pool, and this is where I clean it.
A new house, a pool, steaks on the barbecue. It's the good life that now also includes a new car.
I went up in a little bit of class. I bought a Cadillac compared to an Oldsmobile I had before. And
is very good driving. It's like a good limousine. And we don't have no heavy traffic, no buses like in the city. We don't have no subway running like we are living right next to. At nighttime, it's very quiet here. We're right by the road, but the traffic is very light compared to the Bronx. New York is a hustle bustle. Out here, it's not like that.
You get 2 games for $1 and a chance to win a fortune every single week, but you've got to be in it to win it. 10, 13, 32, 31, 20, 14. The supplementary is 24. They are the 6 winning numbers. Have those 6, and your dreams come true.
When we return, we'll journey to Mexico and witness the death-defying ritual that a group of Indians known as the Voladores have been performing for hundreds of years.
Since before Columbus came to the Americas, a daring ritual has been performed in the jungles of Mexico.
Tonight we take you to that ritual, still conducted exactly the same way, with exactly the same test of courage.
A lush scenic forest in the state of Veracruz, Mexico. It's a place of quiet, awesome beauty, and the last place, perhaps, to discover a death-defying ritual, one of the oldest rituals in the Western Hemisphere. It's a ritual that has killed hundreds of people right here in Shangri-La.
These men, Totonac Indians, are on their way to perform it. The 5-tone flute and the 1-note drum is their ancient signal for the ceremony.
This wooden spool is their capstan, cut from a red cedar root. This is their wooden quadrant.
All the preparations the Voladores do themselves. They must trust their lives to each other.
Next, one of them climbs a wooden pole 60 feet high.
Now the capstan goes up. The capstan won't be nailed or screwed or even glued to the top of the pole. It's just going to be balanced there.
Next, the quadrant goes up. If all this looks like a newfangled act in the center ring of a circus, remember that it was happening long, long ago, before Cortez, before Columbus, before there were any white men in America. The Voladores themselves no longer know exactly what their ritual is all about. Time has erased the answer. But some say it's a sun ceremony. Others say that for men to fly is a tribute to once sacred birds, such as eagles.
Now the ride is about to begin. As the Voladores climb to their eagle's nest, they know they won't be climbing down. They'll be jumping off.
Every year, a couple of Voladores are killed in the course of this ancient ritual. In the 16th and 17th centuries, it was banned by the Catholic missionaries. 2 Voladores died only a few days before our camera crew arrived.
Each of the Voladores ties a rope to his waist. It will become a lifeline.
Slowly now, the chief of the Voladores starts to balance himself on the capstan. From this dangerous perch, 60 feet high, he plays and dances in honor of the pole that may soon take his life.
the Voladoris must release themselves at exactly the same moment, or all will lose their balance 60 feet off the ground.
Gradually and gracefully, the Voladoris fly down, closer and closer to the ground. Their lives now depend on the uncoiling handmade rope which they have wound around the capstan. There are still other dangers. If their balance and coordination are not perfect, all will suddenly fall.
Have triumphed again. The dangerous ritual was perfectly executed.
In time, each man will face this challenge again, risking his life as his ancestors have for centuries on end.
Before we sign off, we'd like to thank Laurie John Ogonowski for joining us tonight.
And we'd like to thank the good folks at station WAFB-TV of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and KCAU-TV, Sioux City, Iowa, for their contribution to the show tonight.
In the weeks ahead, here's some of what's in store. You will see the amazing rescue of a woman trapped in a plane with her dead pilot husband. The actual tapes tell the story. When someone tells Bob Corral to fly a kite, he just flies along with it.
With this new chemical treatment, your house and your clothing may now repel fire.
Every so often, a letter shows up in our mailbox that means something extra special to us. Here's just such a letter. It's from Gary Lee Pittman in Bloomington, Indiana.
Gary writes, I'm an amputee caused by a motorcycle accident 7 months ago. While in the hospital, I was feeling sorry for myself. I guess maybe that's natural. I've always been a fan of That's Incredible, but since my accident, I've noticed more and more there are features on amputees, special children, and so on. I think your show is the best therapy anyone could have. It's helped to let other people realize we are people too, even though something may be missing.
Yeah. Gary, you make us proud. And we hope you'll be proud of the That's Incredible jacket we're sending you, along with a box of That's Incredible books to share with your friends.
And here's our address as always. Post Office Box 25989, Los Angeles, California, zip code 90025, and please include your phone number.
We'll see you all next time on That's Incredible.
Good night.
This is David Hartman. Tomorrow, Troy Donahue and Connie Stevens, plus coverage of the Egyptian election. Friday, Beatle George Harrison on Good Morning America.
Friday, 10 of the world's most beautiful actresses square off against Hollywood's meanest and toughest men on the All-Star Family Feud special, followed by Dennis Weaver and Valley Hartwell in The Day the Loving Stops. Now stay tuned for NFL Monday Night Football.